Hi everyone, welcome or welcome back if you're new here. My name is Jessi and today I am here to give you my August TBR. And if you can't guess, I already have a cat on my lap. This needy thing. Say hello to the people. I also have a cat who's feeling really rather needy tonight. So in the past, I have done several different things when trying to do a TBR. I have done just a straight up, this is what I'm gonna read. I've done a version of Becca's Bookopoly. I've done a legacy game, and if you don't know what a legacy game is where the board is constantly changing. You put stickers or change portions of the board. So I've done that. I also kind of played around with the idea of having like dice and prompts and things like that, but I just don't read enough to do those type of things, and I don't like to punish myself for wanting to read. So what I've kind of done is I have several cups back here, and depending on what I want to read in a certain month, I'll have certain books that I want to read, say like from, I've kind of broken it down to 6 different sections, but not every section will have a cup. So the first one is owned books, and I can't even remember. This one's my library one. I think this is my owned one. So if I don't have a book that I want to read in the month, then I will just pick out of the corresponding cup. So this month, the book that I want to read that I own, I actually have one, and that is When You Wish Upon a Star. This is by Elizabeth Lim, and ironically this is one of the Twisted Tales that I have not read yet. I do own the audiobook version, so that's how I'm going to be reading this. And this what if the blue fairy wasn't supposed to help Pinocchio? Truth be told, Pinocchio is not one of my favorites. If you've seen my Mirror Mirror review, Mirror Mirror Snow White is not one of my favorites either. If you could tell which one is my favorite from what's behind me, then good for you. But I do really like these what if tales. So that is why I keep buying them, why I keep reading them, is because I truly enjoy reading them and I like to review them. So that is my first book that I will be reading this month. The next section that I would like to read from is my library. I love using my local library and I love it. I think it's great, and I actually have a stack that I would like to get to from my local library that isn't necessarily due. So again, if I had something that was due or pressing, I probably would read that book. But since this month I don't have one, I'm going to choose from my Bell Cup, which has a small selection, which I have to go to my library and get my other library books. But this has a very small selection of books that I have here that I would like to read from. So let's pick out what I'm going to read from the library. I had 2 there. Okay, so we're going to go with this one. And this is Weavingshaw. So this is Weavingshaw. Sorry about the ridiculous glare on this, but it is what it is. This is by Heba Al-Wasity. And this book is about Lena, who can see dead people, and her brother gets terminally ill, and oh, she barters her secret. I'm gonna give it a shot. Not sure if it's really for me, but that is why I like my library, because I can try out books like this, and if they're not for me, I can just bless and release back to the library. I don't have to worry about spending $30 on a library book. Or a book, I should say, because your girl is, I don't like to buy a lot of books. I like to use my library. So this is the second book. That is also another hefty book. let's hope I can find an audiobook for that one. The third section that I would like to read more from is the Libby app that I, again, can get audiobooks and ebooks from my library. I typically try to do more audiobooks from my library instead of having to pay for them, but that'll come up again in a little bit. Since I really don't have a whole lot out from my library, I do have a lot on hold, and one audiobook that is supposed to come in off of my holds in like 2-ish weeks is the Redo List by Denise Williams. So this is about Willow, and after a really big breakup or a bad breakup, she decides to go back to like the basics and redo things, like revisit, you know, her first real love, her first kiss, and she does this with the help of her brother's best friend. Do you see these tropes here? I saw the cover, I thought it was very cute, and if you'll find out anything about my channel and me, I do a lot of late night doom scrolling on my library's websites, and this is what I found. The next section is KU. I do pay for Kindle Unlimited. Most of the time I try to use it for these big chunkers of a book that I don't like to hold in my hands, but sometimes I do, since I pay for it, I would like to utilize it for other things. And for this month, I do have something that I would like to read. If I don't, I will obviously, you know, pick it from one of the cups. But this month I do have Last on the List by amydaws. Now this is the it's not the first one. So in this one, we follow Max and Cozy. And Max is the eldest Fletcher brother. He is the eldest brother of this series. In the first one, this series, does not really follow Max and Cozy, but Max and Cozy do play a huge part in this series. And I love this series. This book, which is Everly, which is Max's daughter. So I decided I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna start with that, since I just finished this series and I absolutely love it and I want some more of these brothers. Also in Last on the List, we were introduced to Everly, and this is where she starts her matchmaking gig. She matchmakes her dad and her nanny. I absolutely love amydaws' writing and I cannot wait to dive into this one. So kind of moving on from KU, we're gonna move to Spotify. And if you don't know, with Spotify, if you pay for it with just the bottom amount, you get 15 hours of listening time. I always forget this, and I have a very large amount of audiobooks that I have saved on there that I would like to listen to. And so since my book club for September, I'm not going to be using my Spotify hours, I decided I'm going to pick with my lovely Tombstone cup. So let's see what we get for Spotify. There are a lot in here and I'm kind of scared because there are some that are well over 15 hours and there's a lot in here that are just all kinds of, and I do reserve the right to repick if I don't like what I get. We're gonna go with Zomromcom. I don't even remember what this is. Probably another late night doom scroll. Oh, this is by Olivia Dade. Okay, so I've never actually read anything by her. So this is teaming up with your neighbor during a zombie outbreak is a no-brainer. But if it turns out he's a vampire, the stakes couldn't be higher in this infectious new paranormal romance. And I pretty much just went with it. The cover looks really, really cute and fun. So, and it's only 12 hours. And so the last section is rereading. I have lots of books that I own. I have lots of books that I can either get from my library or from KU that I've given 4 or 5 stars that I want to reread. that I haven't read in years that I just simply want to see if I still really enjoy them. So that is what we have in our lovely Avengers cup. These are all the books that I would like to reread, and since I don't have anything this month, we are going to pick out of this cup for my reread. I have like so many in my hand right here. Yay! So I got Kiss and Don't Tell. I've been wanting to reread this one for so long because I read this one and then I read the second one and then I just stopped. And this is what I read from Meghan Quinn for the very first time, and I absolutely fell in love. So in this book we follow Pacey, who is the goalie for the Vancouver Agitators. Say that 5 times fast. And we follow Winnie. Winnie gets stranded like right outside. It's not his house, but he's there with a bunch of his hockey teammates, and they do this every summer once the hockey season is done. They go to Banff, they just decompress before they have to either be back or whatever. So I absolutely loved this one when I read it. I cannot wait to get to reread this one again. I'm super excited. This was not on my bingo card for this year, but you know what? It's something that I wanted to reread, and I couldn't really decide what I wanted to reread anyways. So we're going with this. So not a terrible start to August. This one's gonna be really quick because obviously it's a middle grade / young adult. I have read from Elizabeth Lim before, absolutely loved her writing. Meghan Quinn I've read from before, Amydaws I've read from before, love their writing, and this one is the wild card, and so is the redo list. But that is my August TBR. Cannot wait. I'm super excited now that I get to not only read Amy Daws, but I get to read a Meghan Quinn, and I am beyond excited about that. These are 2 of my favorite authors. They're vastly underrated, and I love just shouting from the roof that they are so great. But if you've read any of these, let me know down in the comments. Let me know if you think I might like them, or if you just want to let me know that you're here. Why don't you give me a wand emoji for when you wish upon a star? And I will see you in the next one.